Musa led his people into the barren wilderness. The desert stretched endlessly under the scorching sun, with no rivers, no towns, and little food. The people, who had been slaves all their lives, were not used to hardship without guidance. They began to complain. "O Musa, we cannot endure only one kind of food. Pray to your Lord for us to bring forth for us from the earth its herbs, cucumbers, garlic, lentils, and onions." Surah Al-Baqarah, AA. They had forgotten the cruelty of Pharaoh and now longed for the comfort of Egypt, even if it meant slavery. Musa reminded them, "Would you exchange what is better for what is lower? Go back to Egypt, where you can find what you desire." Surah Al-Baqarah, AA. But Allah, in His mercy, did not abandon them to feed them. Allah sent manna, a sweet substance that settled on the rocks each morning like dew, and sawa, a type of bird that appeared in abundance. Every day, they could gather fresh food, enough for themselves and their families. Allah instructed them not to hoard it, but to trust Him daily for provision. This was a lesson in reliance upon Allah, that sustenance comes not from hoarded wealth, but from His bounty. Despite this, many disobeyed, storing more than needed, only to find it spoiled. The test of obedience had begun. Thirst soon overwhelmed the people. Again, they cried to Musa, "We are dying of thirst." Allah commanded Musa, "Strike the rock with your staff." Surah Al-Baqarah. When Musa struck, 12 springs gushed forth, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. Fresh, clear water flowed in the desert, and everyone drank to their fill. But once more, instead of gratitude, many among them complained and argued. Their hearts were restless, never satisfied, always doubting. Then came the greatest trial. Allah commanded Musa to ascend Mount Sinai, where he would reveal His commandments. Musa left his people under the care of his brother, Harun, and climbed a mountain. For 40 nights, Musa remained in the presence of Allah, receiving guidance, wisdom, and the sacred tablets of the law. But in his absence, the people fell into grave error. A man named Samiri fashioned a golden calf from the jewelry of the people. It was hollow, and when the wind blew, it produced a sound like a lowing cow. Samiri deceived the people, saying, "This is your God and the God of Musa." But he has forgotten. Surah Taha 22:88. Tragically, many among Bani Israel began to worship the calf. They turned to shirk after witnessing the miracles of Allah with their own eyes. Harun tried to stop them, pleading, "O my people, you are being tested by it. Indeed, your Lord is the most merciful, so follow me and obey my order." Surah Taha 22:90. But they resisted, mocking him. When Musa returned and saw his people bowing to an idol, his heart burned with anger and grief. He cast down the tablets and turned to his brother. "O Harun, what prevented you, when you saw them going astray, from following me? Have you disobeyed my order?" Surah Taha 20:92-93. Harun explained that he feared division among the people and tried to hold them together until Musa's return. Then Musa turned to Samiri, who had misled the people. Samiri confessed, but claimed he was inspired by visions. Musa cursed him, declaring he would live as an outcast, cut off from society. The golden calf was burned to ashes and scattered in the sea. Musa reminded his people that worship belongs to Allah alone, and their repentance was demanded. Despite their sins, Allah's mercy remained vast. Musa returned to Mount Sinai, where Allah renewed His covenant with Bani Israel. He gave Musa the commandments carved on stone tablets, laws that would guide the people in worship, justice, and community life. But again, some doubted. Allah showed them His majesty by raising the mountain above them as if it were a canopy, saying, "Hold firmly to what we have given you and listen." Surah Al-Araf 7-171. Trembling, they agreed, yet their hearts still wavered, for faith requires not just words but sincerity. Freedom is a test. Being freed from slavery was not the end but the start of trials. Reliance on Allah, daily provision of manna and sawa, taught trust in Allah's continuous mercy. The danger of forgetfulness, even after miracles, people can fall into shirk if their hearts are weak. True leadership, Musa and Harun showed patience, strength, and dedication despite betrayal. Repentance is always open. Allah gave chances for forgiveness, showing His vast mercy. After guiding Bani Israel through the desert, Musa continued teaching and leading them. He was known as one of the greatest prophets, gifted with divine revelation and direct conversation with Allah. One day, a man asked Musa, "Is there anyone more knowledgeable than you?" Confident in his role, Musa replied, "No, but Allah, in His infinite wisdom, reminded Musa that knowledge belongs only to Him, and there are always others granted wisdom in ways different from us." Allah informed Musa about a servant of his Khidr who had knowledge not given to Musa. This was a profound lesson. No matter how great one's position, humility before Allah and recognition of His infinite knowledge is essential. Allah instructed Musa to travel to a place where the two seas meet. There, he would find Khidr. The sign of Khidr's presence would be that Musa's fish, carried as food on the journey, would miraculously disappear. So Musa set out, accompanied by his young helper, Yusha ibn Nun, later to become a prophet. They carried provisions, including a fish, and journeyed until exhaustion overtook them. They rested near a rock, and during their sleep, the fish slipped out into the water and swam away, a miracle Musa did not witness. Later, when hunger returned, Musa asked for food. Yusha remembered, "Do you recall when we rested at the rock? Indeed, I forgot the fish, and none made me forget except Shaitan. It took its course into the sea, amazingly." Surah Al-Kahf 18-63. Realizing this was the sign, Musa retraced his steps. There, at the junction of the seas, he found Khidr. Musa greeted Khidr with humility and asked, "May I follow you so that you teach me from what Allah has taught you of guidance?" Surah Al-Kahf 18, banding 66. Khidr warned, "You will not be able to have patience with me. How can you be patient with something you do not comprehend?" Musa assured him, "If Allah wills, you will find me patient, and I will not disobey you." Khidr agreed on one condition. Musa must not question anything until Khidr himself explained. The journey began. They boarded a small boat belonging to poor fishermen who welcomed them generously without asking for payment. As they sailed, Musa watched in shock as Khidr deliberately damaged the boat, removing planks from its side. Unable to restrain himself, Musa cried, "Have you torn it apart to drown its people? You have certainly done a grave thing." Surah Al-Kahf 18, banding 71. Khidr reminded him, "Did I not say you would not be able to remain patient with me?" Musa apologized, "Do not blame me for what I forgot, and do not cover me in difficulty." As they continued their journey, they met a young boy. To Musa's horror, Khidr killed the boy. Shocked and grieved, Musa exclaimed, "Have you killed a pure soul for other than a soul? You have certainly done a terrible thing." Surah Al-Kahf 18-74. Khidr reminded him again of his promise. Musa, realizing his weakness, promised not to question again. Yet, his heart ached with confusion. Finally, they arrived at a village where the people were unkind, refusing them hospitality. Despite this, Khidr repaired a crumbling wall in the village, ensuring it would stand firm. Musa, puzzled, asked if you wished, you could have taken payment for it. Surah Al-Kahf 18-77. This time, Khidr declared, "This is the parting between you and me. I will inform you of the meaning of that which you could not bear patiently." Khidr explained each act. The boat belongs to poor fishermen. A tyrant king was seizing every good ship. Damaging it saved it from confiscation, allowing the fishermen to repair it later and keep their livelihood. The child was destined to grow into a rebellious, disbelieving man, bringing grief and misguidance to his pious parents. Allah, in His mercy, would replace him with a righteous child better for their faith and family. The wall, it belonged to two orphan boys whose father was righteous. Underneath it lay a treasure meant for them. Allah willed that the wall remain standing until they grew old enough to claim it. Khidr concluded, "I did not do these things on my own command." This is the explanation of what you could not have patience with. Surah Al-Kahf 18. Bonding 80. Knowledge belongs to Allah alone. Even prophets must remain humble before Allah's wisdom. Patience before judgment. What appears harmful may conceal mercy, and what seems good may hide danger. Trust in Allah's decree life, as events often carry hidden wisdom that only Allah knows. The balance of justice and mercy. Allah's plans are rooted in justice, but always surrounded by His mercy. After the journey with Kidduras, Musa returned to his people, the Bani Isra'il. They had seen countless miracles, Pharaoh's destruction, the sea parted, manna and salwa provided, springs bursting from rock, yet their hearts still wavered. Instead of gratitude, arrogance and rebellion grew. They often resisted Musa's commands, demanding proofs again and again, forgetting Allah's favors. Their story is a powerful reminder of how weak faith can destroy blessings. Allah commanded Bani Israel to march into the Holy Land Palestine, where tyrants ruled. It was their destiny to inherit this land if they fought bravely in Allah's path. Musa encouraged them, "O my people, enter the Holy Land which Allah has prescribed for you, and do not turn back, or you will become losers." Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:21. But the people, filled with fear, refused. They said, "O Musa, indeed, in it is a powerful people, and we will never enter until they leave. If they leave, then we will enter." Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:22. Even after witnessing Allah's power, they doubted His help. Only 2 men among them stood firm, reminding the people, "Enter upon them through the gate. For if you enter it, you will surely be victorious. Put your trust in Allah if you are believers." Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:23. But the majority still rebelled. Because of their disobedience, Allah decreed, "It is forbidden for them for 40 years. They will wander throughout the land. So do not grieve over the defiantly disobedient people." Surah Al-Ma'idah 5:26. Thus, the Bani Israel were condemned to wander in the desert for 40 years. They would not settle in the Holy Land until an entire generation passed away and new hearts, purified of fear, would rise. Musa, though saddened, accepted Allah's decree. He continued guiding them, caring for them, and teaching them despite their constant complaints. During this time, an incident occurred that revealed their stubbornness. A man from Bani Israel was murdered, and suspicion spread among the tribes. They demanded Musa seek Allah's judgment. Allah commanded, "Indeed, Allah commands you to slaughter a cow." Surah Al-Baqarah 2267. Instead of obeying simply, they mocked Musa. "Do you take us in ridicule?" Musa replied, "I seek refuge in Allah from being among the ignorant." They kept questioning, what kind of cow, its color, its age. Each time Musa relayed Allah's answer, and each time they made the command harder on themselves. Finally, they were told, "A cow neither too old nor too young, but yellow in color, bright, pleasing to the onlookers, never used for work, free from defects." Only then did they slaughter it. Though reluctantly, Allah revealed the murderer by a miracle. When part of the cow was struck on the dead man, he came back to life, identified his killer, and died again. This showed their hearts, always questioning, delaying, and resisting simple obedience. Even in their rebellion, Allah continued providing. He shaded them with clouds in the desert, protected them from the burning sun, and gave them clothes that never wore out. Yet, their tongues continued to complain. Their behavior tested Musa's patience greatly. He prayed, he wept, and he persevered, teaching us the value of patience in leadership. As the 40 years neared their end, Musa grew old. He longed to see the Holy Land, but Allah decreed that he would not enter it. Instead, his successor, Yusha ibn Nun, would lead the new generation into victory. It is narrated in authentic hadith that when the angel of death came to Musa, he requested to die close to the Holy Land, at a distance of a stone's throw. Sahih al-Bukhari. Musa has passed away in the desert, buried near the land he longed for but was denied because of his people's rebellion. Obedience is the key to victory. Disobedience brings punishment, no matter how many miracles one sees. Fear versus faith. The Bani Israel's fear cost them their destiny. reminding us that trust in Allah conquers all odds. Questions should come from sincerity, not arrogance. Their endless questions about the cow reveal the danger of stubborn hearts. Allah's mercy is vast. Even in punishment, Allah continued to feed, clothe, and protect them. Leadership requires patience. Musa endured constant rebellion, yet never abandoned his people. Dear brothers and sisters, the story of Musa and the Bani Isra'il teaches us that blessings are lost when faith is weak, but Allah's mercy never ceases. We must learn to obey with humility, trust Allah's decree, and remain steadfast even when trials seem overwhelming. After Musa passed away in the desert, Bani Israel mourned deeply. They had lost the prophet who freed them from slavery, split the sea for them, and guided them through countless trials. Yet Allah's plan was always in motion. Among Musa's closest companions was Yusha ibn Nun, a young man of faith, courage, and obedience. He was the same servant who had traveled with Musa during his journey to meet Khidr. It was now Yusha whom Allah chose to lead Bani Isra'il into the land long promised to them. His leadership symbolized a new beginning, a generation that had not tasted slavery in Egypt but grew up under the care of prophets, disciplined by 40 years in the desert. Their hearts were stronger, their faith more resilient. When the 40 years of wandering ended, Yusha gathered the people and prepared them for the conquest. Unlike their fathers, who had feared the tyrants of the land, this new generation was ready to fight in Allah's path. The land they were about to enter was known for its fortified cities and powerful rulers. Yet Allah had promised victory to the faithful. Yusha reminded his people to place their trust in Allah, for victory comes not from numbers or weapons, but from obedience and steadfastness. According to authentic narrations, Yusha led his army against the tyrants in a decisive battle. The fighting was fierce and lasted the entire day. As evening approached, the time of Maghrib drew near, but the conquest was not yet complete. Yusha, unwilling to let darkness give the enemy shelter, prayed to Allah in a way no one before him had done. He raised his hands and said, "O Allah, hold back the sun for us." By Allah's will, the sun halted in its place, giving the believers enough light to finish their battle. They fought with bravery, and by nightfall, victory was theirs. The Holy Land was finally theirs to inherit, a promise fulfilled after decades of trial. This miracle was a sign of Allah's support for Yusha and his people, just as he had supported Musa before him. As they entered the city, Allah tested them once again. He commanded them to enter humbly, bowing in prostration, and to say the word, Hita, forgiveness, so that Allah would forgive their sins and increase their blessings. But sadly, many among them disobeyed, twisting the word mockingly and entering with arrogance instead of humility. Their disobedience once again drew Allah's displeasure, showing how quickly human hearts can turn from gratitude to pride. Despite the rebellion of some, Yusha ibn Nun remained a noble leader, guiding his people with justice and faith. His victory marked the fulfillment of what Musa had longed for, the entry of Bani Isra'il into the blessed land. Through his leadership, Allah taught that his promises are always true, but they require patience, obedience, and faith. The previous generation had been denied entry because of fear and disobedience. The new generation, led by Yusha, achieved success because they trusted Allah and followed His command. Allah's promise never fails, even if delayed. Allah fulfills His promise to those who remain patient. Generational faith. Sometimes blessings are withheld until a new generation rises with stronger hearts. Leadership with faith. Yusha's courage and reliance on Allah turned fear into victory. Gratitude in success. Entering the Holy Land required humility, but arrogance led some astray again. Miracles support the believers. The sun pausing for Yusha was a reminder that nature itself obeys Allah's command. The story of Musa is one of the greatest stories told in the Quran. From his miraculous birth in the house of Pharaoh, to his mission of confronting tyranny, to the liberation of his people and their long trials in the desert, every moment was filled with signs of Allah's wisdom. When Musa departed from this world, he left behind a legacy of courage, patience, and absolute reliance on Allah. His life was a living proof that no matter how powerful falsehood appears, truth with faith will always prevail. Musa stood before Pharaoh, the most arrogant ruler of his time, armed with nothing but Allah's words and a simple staff. Yet with Allah's support, that staff turned into a serpent, split the sea, and destroyed the greatest army of the age. The story reminds us that power and kingdoms fade, but faith in Allah makes the weakest heart stronger than all empires combined. Bani Isra'il, after being freed from slavery, were tested with hunger, thirst, and their own impatience. Many times, they complained, disobeyed, and even doubted their prophet. Yet Musa never abandoned them. He prayed for them, guided them, and stood as a shield between them and Allah's anger. This teaches us that leadership is not about comfort, but about sacrifice and responsibility. True leaders bear the weight of their people, even when they are ungrateful. Though Musa longed to enter the Holy Land, Allah decreed otherwise. He passed away in the wilderness, his eyes gazing toward the sacred place he could not enter. Yet, through Yusha ibn Nun Allah fulfilled his promise. This moment teaches us that our role is to struggle in the path of Allah, even if we do not see the final outcome. Victory belongs to Allah, and He grants it when the time is right. Trust in Allah alone. When Musa stood trapped between the sea and Pharaoh's army, he said with certainty, "Indeed, my Lord is with me. He will guide me." Quran 26-62. This unwavering trust turned despair into deliverance. Leadership requires patience. Musa bore the complaints, betrayals, and disobedience of his people with remarkable patience. A true leader does not abandon his mission because of hardship. Arrogance leads to ruin. Pharaoh's pride led to his destruction. No matter how powerful one becomes, rebellion against Allah ends in humiliation. Gratitude brings blessings. Bani Israel were given manna, quail, and water from the rock, yet many remained ungrateful. Gratitude preserves blessings. Ingratitude removes them. The struggle is greater than the destination. Musa may not have entered the Holy Land, but his lifelong struggle is what earned him honor with Allah. The journey itself is the true test. The story of Musa is not just history. It is a mirror for our own lives. Every Pharaoh we face, whether it is injustice, oppression, or arrogance, can be defeated with truth and faith. Every Red Sea we face, impossible barriers and fears, can be split by Allah's command. Every desert we wander in confusion, trials, and hardships is meant to purify us, to make us worthy of Allah's blessings. Oh, dear brothers and sisters, the story of Musa is a treasure of lessons that never fade. It is a story of courage against oppression, patience in hardship, and faith in the unseen. Let us carry these lessons into our lives, to stand firm in truth, to trust Allah in every storm, and to be grateful for His countless blessings. This concludes the series on Musa and Bani Israel. May Allah allow us to live by these lessons, raise us with the prophets on the day of judgment, and make us people of patience, gratitude, and faith. Let these timeless stories reach more hearts, guiding them toward Allah's light.